trying to get a novelist's pace, but still write like a short story writer. So it's always challenging. It's Wedding Day, it's called, the first chapter. Grace woke early. The previous evening, in preparation for today, she had put all the pots she could on the range, filled with water, so that the chill might be out of them this morning for boiling. Now she pulled a robe on over her nightgown, moved silently to the door of her room, her beautiful room. She would be sad to leave it. At first she shared it with her sister Eleanor, but Eleanor soon found a man and married him, and moved to York in England. She missed Eleanor, and particularly missed her clothes and her shoes, but she loved having the room to herself. It was a large room, and she had purchased a few pieces with the money she made as a dental assistant. A dressing table, second-hand, a soft blue candlewick cover for the bed, yellow curtains for the windows. The sun coming in through the yellow of the curtains in the morning never failed to lift her spirits and created a soft effect on the big double bed in the centre of the room, which she now had all to herself. She blushed, all to herself. Well, those days would be gone, but she couldn't bear to think about that just yet, and so she left the room and walked silently down the hallway. There was no one about, there never was at this hour, her mother waiting until the last minute before rising to make breakfast for the lodgers, single railway men or men from the country in need of temporary housing. So she went downstairs and stoked the range, added turf and sticks to the few remaining embers and a little coal, and opened the flue fully. She prepared the breakfast table, putting the cups upside down on their saucers, cloth napkins beside the knives and forks. As the range burned, the kitchen warmed up. She checked on the water, not yet hot enough. When it was, she would carry the hot water upstairs to the private bathroom. John Street had 2 bathrooms, which endeared it to her to no end. It was the best house she'd ever lived in, with large rooms, high ceilings. Her dad was still alive when they moved in here, and he loved it too. She and he would sometimes pretend to be toffs with their wooden floors, oriental rugs, and large fireplaces. "Pour me a Pimm's, dear, would you?" he would say. And she would pour him a red lemonade and put a sprig of parsley in it and say, "There you go, Papa, a Pimm's," and laugh at their silliness. It would end when her mother's large form entered, puffing at them and telling them that there was work to be done in the kitchen or the coal shed or the bedrooms. They'd never owned a house, but often Grace wished they'd owned this one on John Street. She lived in fear that one day her mother would declare that they were moving to another house, a cheaper one, even though they could afford to stay here. Why waste money on this big old rambling house, she'd ask. Grace's father had never resisted her. It sometimes drove Grace crazy. She knew he had loved this house too. It amazed her they'd lasted this long, but her mother was talking of finding another cheaper house to rent. It was a good time for her to be moving on. 5 years ago, just a year after they moved into John Street, her father drove the train as usual from Belturbet to Sligo on the narrow gauge rails. And when he stopped the train in the station, he sat back and quietly died. Like everything he did in his life, he quietly died. Just like that, his heart gave out. He was only 51. She didn't think her heart had unbroken yet, or that it would ever. She went upstairs to lay her clothes out for the day. She took the white shirt off its hanger and lay it on the bed. It looked vivid on the blue candlewick, a brilliant white, but delicate and soft. Then the suit, the beautiful baby blue suit. The skirt was soft wool, box pleated, and came to just below her knee. The jacket, also wool, buttoned at the front with a scalloped edge of the same material, running from each shoulder to the edge of the jacket, creating a gorgeous V that was so flattering she just couldn't wait to wear it. It had a thin belt that pulled it all together and no collar, so that the broderie anglais collar of her white shirt would fold over the edge and create a softer edging. And the coat, that was the clincher, her lemon wool coat. She put it on over her nightgown just to get the feel of it again. Soft lemon cashmere that wrapped around her like a blanket, with a belt that she pulled around and tied in a knot on her waist. She felt like $1 million, even without her bath and her hair fixed and her lipstick. She was different in that coat, a new woman, a woman who could reinvent herself as whoever she wanted to be, a woman in control of every aspect of her life, a woman who could walk down Main Street, head high, a woman who would take nonsense from nobody, a modern woman. It was scary how beautiful and wonderful she felt in that coat. A good omen for her future, she thought.